practicing humanitarian project sa mga religious education output. Kani nga siya nga initiative kay para ni sa mga nasalanta or naapektuhan sa Typhoon Basing. So mag-provide kog mga relief goods, just noodles, canned goods, and another necessities para sa mga nakuan sa na a charity work basically para sa naapektuhan sa Typhoon Basing or Bising. So these are the muning amo kanang provide ng mga goods. Yep. Na pansit canton, noodles, other cleaning necessities, hygienic necessities. Are po yung mga coffee. Provide me of coffee para sa mga nasalanta or napiktuhan sa Typhoon Bising last month or previously this month. I forgot na nakalimutan na ako unsa tunga typhoon. But regardless, it affected lots of people. So, Ariang provide ko ka ng mga relief goods para sa mga naapektuhan sa Typhoon Basing or Bising. So, Ari mga noodles, pansit canton, kanang ari ko kanang mga para po amo ni hatag ni kanang uban nga mga kape sa uban to na sa lanta. So masaga nang ang ganing si Mr. A.G. Pascual o kanang mga coffee mate para sa isabot mga suon ug sa kaniyang mga kapamilya ang importante sa iya ug kanang of course dili na si EJ magkuan dili ni mabuhi si EJ nga mil adungipon. So atagan po nato sa kanang Colgate o uban po nga mga products. So nanganipot ni sa kuan sa Deliosa Residence o makatag po kayo ka ng relief goods as part sa among mission, communitarian mission nga kukuhan ka na bang project initiative para sa napektuhan sa Typhoon Bising. So para sa kay Mr. A.G. Pascual kanina nangatag niyo ka ng mga pansit canton o kanang noodles uban nga mga kanang mga relief goods nga makatabang sa kanila nga recover sa Typhoon Basing. Wala kari na yun. Typhoon kari ko ang noodles o kanang pansit canton. Kari ko ay kanang kape nga stick. Kapapot ko para sa natin mga A.G. Pascual para mga provide ng mga relief goods o uban nga mga napektuhan sa Typhoon Basing. Kanang kari ko Martagal pa ito mga hygienic materials para sa mga Colgate para pagkuhan po sila wala ka na kung dili na sa mga ato lamang ka ng asa na ginapita sa pagkuhan sa kanang mga taong pagkagang pagkukulgate. Pagkakit ko sa mga tatagputaw ka ng sabihin niya sa tibugit. Nagdamag sila mga dayak o sardinas sa tubig. Sige. Nanay Arcelia. Unsa may mo nasa Katoliko makanay no? Katoliko mga nanay no. Unsa may mo stance na sa kuan kanang sa sabot kasing human rights night.
Human rights, mga kabalaod sa mga katawhan aron di magkuan dili mga pag-abuso. Mga abuso kanang mga usap pa nga sa panahon nga dili kang tigo mo kuan sunod og unsay mga madyo unsay dili na mga kanang namanas pamalaod ng human rights good diya kanang mga unta ang sundon sa mga tao nga dili unta mag abuso sa ilang mga binuhatan mga balaod man na.
Unsa may imo tan-aw na imo panan-aw na sa kanang baksa kay Rodrigo Duterte nga administrasyon na nga namin mga tao magitong patay na isa. Pero di pa mabalaod na sa human rights na. Unsa may imo panan-aw na?
Oo, pero unsa malagi ning panahon pud karon nga sobra na mapod kay kini malagi daghan na mga adik. malagi ka jud unta dili unta na madyo kay gidili mo dus pang Ginoo gidili magajud na magpatay na magajud na balawad sa kasubuan sa Ginoo nga dili gajud magpatay kay tao gud lamang ta anja pero kay unsaon man lagi pod ni panahon na karon di magjud pod magkwanta mo pares pod lagi pong Jesus Christ nga na nagpa atong kaluoy kadyo nag antos just pastoros tungod sa mga tao kay sobra na po kadyo mao malagi po na lagi na ingon na atong presidente tungod kay di na po kay upa mapod na ka duway may wa gadjud ko damoy mo santa niya na abot usa naman may itabo ning kalibutan
So, mo to kay naining palit sa tindahan ni Nanay Arcenia sa iyang sa iyang residency. So, mo to guys, So based on the interview and charity work to Nanay Arcenia, we can discern that although she supports the Duterte administration despite the extrajudicial killings in the country, we can also notice that she understands the cruelty of the administration and its conflict with the Catholic social teachings in connection to the theme of human rights. The following are several of the key themes that are at the heart of our Catholic social tradition: life and dignity of the human person, call to family, community, and participation, rights and responsibilities, option for the poor, the dignity of work and the rights of workers, solidarity, and care for God's creation. This video presentation will discuss at length the rights and responsibilities of the children of God, and incidentally, it will also provide minor details about the other key themes in Catholic social tradition to better understand the Catholic interpretation of human rights. Human rights are commonly understood as inalienable fundamental rights to which a person is inherently entitled simply because he or she is a human being, and which are inherent in all human beings regardless of their age, ethnic origin, location, language, ethnicity, or any other status. They are applicable everywhere and at every time in the sense of being universal, and they are egalitarian in the sense of being the same for everyone. The Catholic Church proclaims that human life is sacred and that the dignity of the human person is the foundation of a moral vision for society. The Catholic Church believes that every person is precious, that people are more important than things, and that the measure of every institution is whether it threatens or enhances the life and dignity of the human person. The theme of human rights in Catholic social teaching is thus aligned with a commutative justice, since it acknowledges and respects the rights and duties of each human being as a member of the community. Incidentally, the Catholic tradition teaches that human dignity can be protected and a healthy community can be achieved only if human rights are protected and responsibilities are met to one another, to our families, and to the larger society. In Philippine context, human rights are protected by the national government and the local administration through the 1987 Philippine Constitution, the current fundamental law of the country. The protection of human rights has been explicitly provided within Article 8, Social Justice and Human Rights in the 1987 Philippine Constitution. Section 1 here in this article states that the Congress shall give the highest priority to the enactment of measures that protect and enhance the rights of all people to human dignity, reduce social, economic, and political inequalities, and remove cultural inequalities by equitably diffusing wealth and political power for the common good. Section 17 and 18 here in these articles thus respectively define the creation of an independent office called the Commission of Human Rights and its following powers and functions, most importantly to provide the following. Firstly, to appropriate legal measures for the protection of human rights of all persons within the Philippines, as well as Filipinos residing abroad, and provide for preventive measures and legal aid services to the underprivileged whose human rights have been violated or need protection. Secondly, to establish a continuing program of research, education, and information to enhance respect for the primacy of human rights. Thirdly, to recommend to Congress effective measures to promote human rights and to provide for compensation to victims of violation of human rights or their families. Lastly, to monitor the Philippine government's compliance with international treaty obligations on human rights. The Church's response to human rights and social justice around the world is based on Catholic belief about the dignity of the human person. Therefore, Catholic social teaching has always situated human rights to care and protect the dignity of one individual in the context of the common good. The official definition of the common good is the sum total of social conditions which allow people, either as groups or as individuals, to reach their fulfillment more fully and more easily. It is these conditions that allow for human flourishing and allow each individual human being to be the best person he or she can be. In other words, the common good can be described as creating and providing the right social conditions so that individuals and communities can reach their full potential and live a full human life. Therefore, the common good is about ensuring the human dignity and unique gifts of each person in the context of a community where people are connected to each other and to creation. Inherent from the 1987 Constitution, the Philippine national government enhanced the human rights of each person living in the country aligned with the common good through developing healthcare system, economic system, and food cultural system that foster sustainable consumption. As encyclicals are generally used by popes in addressing significant issues in relation from other various themes of Catholic social teachings, the following is a discussion that provides a summary of certain encyclicals that focuses on the theme of human rights.
Hi guys, I'm Trisha Jean Arienza. So the first encyclical that will be discussed in relation to the theme of human rights is Pope John XXIII Pacem in Terris. In this work, Pope John XXIII reacted to the political situation in the middle of the Cold War, specifically during the urgent circumstances of the 1962 Cuban-Missile Crisis between the United States and Cuba due to the discovery of a Soviet nuclear installation in the latter's region. In this encyclical, Pope John XXIII's Pacem in Terris emphasizes human dignity and equality among all people and recognizes the necessity for each state to have a clear and precisely worded charter of fundamental human rights. It was the first encyclical addressed to all people of goodwill, and not just to Catholics alone. The document outlined both human rights and duties and their importance. Each person's rights are to be respected, but at the same time, each person is bound to particular duties. Moreover, Pope Leo XXIII emphasizes the importance of respect of human rights as an essential consequence of the Christian's understanding of men. He clearly established that every man has the right to life, to bodily integrity, and to the means which are suitable for the proper development of life. In this encyclical, Pope Leo XXIII addresses the ineffectiveness of formulated national or regional laws in addressing human rights due to the political, economic, and
Cultural inequities
when
among
public
citizens.
authorities fail to take appropriate actions. Such rights would include a right to associate, right to proper wages, political rights, such rights would include a right to associate, right to proper wages, political rights, and the right to immigrate, and a person's duty, on the other hand, would include the duty to preserve life and to respect other people's rights. Thus, any government which refused to recognize human rights or acted in violation of them would not only fail its duty, its decrees would be wholly lacking in binding force. That's it.
Hello everyone, my name is Chelsea, and the second encyclical that will be discussed is Pope John Paul II Centesimus Annus. In this encyclical, Pope John Paul II addresses that the Church has affirmed clearly and forcefully that every individual bears the image of God, and therefore deserves equal recognition of their universal human rights. Herein, John Paul II said, "We can see how important it is to safeguard the fundamental right to freedom of religion and freedom of conscience as the cornerstones of the structure of human rights, and the foundation of every truly free society. Because there should be a common effort to build the civilization of love, founded on the universal values of peace, solidarity, justice, and liberty. And the soul of the civilization of love is the culture of freedom, lived in self-giving solidarity and responsibility. Pope John Paul II has drawn up a non-exhaustive list of human rights in the encyclical Centesimus Annus. Number 1, the right to life, an integral part of which is the right of the child to develop in the mother's womb from the moment of conception. Number 2, the right to live in a united family and in moral environment conducive to the growth of the child's personality. Number 3, the right to develop one's intelligence and freedom in seeking and knowing the truth. Number 4, the right to share in the work which makes wise use of the earth's material resources and to derive from that work the means to support oneself and one's dependents. Number 5, and the right freely to establish a family to have and to rear children through the responsible exercise of one's sexuality. Moreover, in Pope Leo II Centesimus Annus, he highlights the lack of the state in overseeing and directing the exercise of human rights in the economic sector. However, primary responsibility in this area belongs not to the state but to individuals and to the various groups and associations which make up the society. The state has a duty to sustain business activities by creating conditions which will ensure job opportunities, by stimulating those activities where they are lacking, or by supporting them in moments of crisis. This inefficiency of the economic system is a consequence of the violations of the human rights to private initiative, to ownership of property, and to freedom in the economic sector. Therefore, Pope Leo II Centesimus Annus highlights the socio-economic consequences of an error that consists the detachment of human freedom from obedience to God, and consequently, from the duty to respect the rights of others. This error eventually led in the tragic series of wars which ravaged Europe and the world between 1914 and 1945. Such cruel wars would not have been possible, in which great nations invested their energies and in which there was no hesitation to violate the most sacred human rights, with the extermination of entire people and social groups without the terrible burden of hatred and resentment built upon the aforesaid error of humanity.
Evangelium Vitae, the third encyclical that will be discussed in relation to the theme of human rights, is Pope John Paul II's Evangelium Vitae. This encyclical deals with issues pertaining to the sanctity of human life, including murder, abortion, euthanasia, and capital punishment, reaffirming the Church stance on sad issues consistent with the preceding Church teachings before delving into the social and ecological factors that stress the importance of a society and emphasize the duty to care for the poor and the sick. The theme of human rights in Pope John Paul II's Evangelium Vitae is best exemplified in his opposition of contraception, sterilization, and abortion. Herein, Pope John Paul II noted that it was particularly disturbing that direct crime against life, like abortion and euthanasia, have been interpreted as legitimate expression of individual rights to be protected as actual rights. This is especially so a society which makes the affirmation and protection of human rights its primary objective and its boost. He said that these attacks go directly against respect for life and they represent a direct threat to the entire culture of human rights. The ways of solving the population problem are quite different. Governments and the various international agencies must above all strive to create economic, social, public health, and cultural conditions which will enable married couples to make their choices about procreation in full freedom and with genuine responsibility. Solution must be sought on global level by establishing a through economy of communion and sharing of goods in both national and international Certainly, public authorities have a responsibility to intervene to orient the demography of the population. But such intervention must always take into account and respect the primary inalienability responsibility of married couples and families, and cannot employ methods which fail to respect the person and fundamental rights, beginning with the right to life of every innocent human being. It is therefore morally unacceptable to encourage, let alone impose, the use methods of such contraception, sterilization, and abortion in order to regulate births. This is the only way to respect the dignity of persons and families, as well as the authentic culture, patrimony of peoples.
The fourth encyclical that will be discussed in relation to the theme of human rights is Pope John Francis Evangelii Gaudium. This encyclical touches many themes of Francis' papacy, including obligations Christians have to the poor and duty to establish and maintain just economic, political, and legal orders. Thus, in connection to the theme of human rights, this encyclical recognizes the duty of the Catholic Church to care with special attention for the unborn who are the most innocent, defenseless, and unborn among us, guided by love and concern to care with special attention for the people are taking unborn lives and preventing any from stopping the practice of abortion. However, the Church maintains yet this defense of unborn life is closely like to the defense of each and every other human right. It involves the conviction that a human being is always sacred and inviolable in any situation and at every stage of development. Once this conviction disappears, so do solid and lasting, which would always be the subject to the passing whims of the power that be. Moreover, aside the issue concerning the lives, the unborn, and abortion, Pope Francis Evangelii Gaudium stresses the devotion of wealth. Concern for the poor and human rights cannot be suppressed, and the dignity of the human person and the common good would rank higher than the comfort of those who refuse to renounce the privilege. Therefore, for Pope Francis, peace in society cannot be understood as pacification or the mere absence of violence resulting from the domination of one part of society over others. Nor does true peace a pretext for justifying a social structure which silence or appears temporal, so that the more affluent can possibly support their lifestyle while others have to make do as they can.
The last encyclical that will be discussed in relation to the theme of human rights is the Second Vatican Council Gaudium et Spes. With the failure of the Church in responding promptly to major global events such as World War II and the Holocaust, Pope John XXIII began Vatican II with an emphasis on examining the role of the Church in the world. Gaudium et Spes therefore opens with the creation of man in the light of God and the dignity to which man possesses and addresses problems in the world, such as marriage and family, the development of culture, economics, politics, and peace and war. Therefore, the first part of the document addresses human dignity, freedom, and conscience. It heavily emphasizes human dignity and interdependence of people and reiterates the importance of the common good and the duty of people to be a neighbor to others. So this encyclical upheld the importance of human rights and their corresponding obligations through the enforcement of public authorities for the common good. So therefore reiterates the teachings of preceding encyclicals such as those on proper wages, working conditions, and private property, even adding wishes of others what he himself needs. So it also reiterates the right to freely found unions at the times, going on strike that can be necessary. True ultimate means to defend the workers' right.
In conclusion, the theme of human rights is intertwined with the other themes in Catholic social teaching, especially on the life and dignity of the human person, the dignity of work, and the rights of workers and care for God's creation. Moreover, the theme of human rights have been actualized through the international community and sovereign countries. For instance, our country, the Philippines, all encyclicals promulgated by each succeeding pope in the Vatican at varying degree contribute to either human rights or human dignity of each person living on earth. Despite the innumerable obstacles that humanity is facing for their survival, the challenges our principles and beliefs or how we value the concept of human rights and their corresponding duties, we are urged by the Catholic Church to constantly heed on the righteous path in life as we are guided by faith. That is all, everyone. Thank you for listening in our presentation.